Hello and welcome to another edition of Drivers Keepers. Today we go to see Steve and his beautiful Aston Martin DB2. A drunken purchase, but does he regret it?
How many people buy an Aston Martin after a few drinks? Unbelievable.
Yeah, good tale.
Yeah, so also we're going to look at a garage update because my Mercy's had quite a bit of work and Simon's 430 as well. So yeah, quite a lot in store.
Yeah, we'll give you a full cost breakdown on how much we've had to spend to keep our cars on the road.
Correct.
Sound interesting? Welcome to another episode of
Drivers Keepers.
Yeah, I do, the whine.
Just love it. Such a shame you don't get it in modern cars. Steve, tell us about the backstory of this then. So where did you get it and how did you come by it? Because you said earlier about the DB6 was your dream car. Where does this fit into it?
That's a great question. This car, well, not this particular, this example, but the DB24 is what really got me into cars and specifically Aston Martins.
Right. Because
my father brought one when I was 11, 12 years old.
One of these?
Yeah, one of these.
Right.
SGN 484 was its registration. This is 1954, my dad's was 1955.
Right.
And I just loved it. I mean, I just loved it. But I probably hankered after a DB6 more because it was more modern or whatever. But I always wanted to get a DB24 because, you know, this is where it all started.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted one. And like most DB Astons, they've been very, very expensive over the years. But the problem or the benefit really of the older DBs is the people that wanted them are sadly now dying.
Yeah.
So therefore their second-hand values are also dropping. So these were hundreds of thousands of pounds.
What was the equivalent price then back then in 57?
It was about $2.5 these were.
So what would that be now? Let's have a think. That's going to be 100 grand, isn't it?
It's over 100 grand car.
Yeah.
I think the prices of cars have gone up exponentially to, you know, like an Aston now is like 200 grand. So I think, you know, relatively speaking, they might be cheaper even. But,
yeah.
So that's why I wanted to get one. And they were really, really expensive. But the last couple of years, last few years, have dropped, and I, as a result of that, started looking in earnest to get one. If I'm honest, I really wanted the one my dad had, but I couldn't find it. I know it's still around.
It's definitely still around.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I love this bit of road, by the way. Sorry to interrupt, but
no.
This is worthy of this car. Nice little right-hander, little right-hander, and then just planted at the bottom, go straight line through there, just clip that. Oh, great. So I looked at a few, and I've got to be really honest, this came up on collecting cars.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Is it collecting cars?
Yeah, collecting cars.
Oh, yeah.
Auction site.
Yeah, and I couldn't quite believe the price of it because it looked really good.
Yeah.
But the slam dunker was, it's done the Mille Miglia.
Right. Right.
I don't know if you know about the Mille Miglia.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, 1,000-mile race around Italy. Competitively raced, I think, till 57. Famous with Sterling Moss, blah 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 blah, with a Mercedes. And he'd done it. This car had done it. And that normally adds a lot of money to the car.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, it added a premium, but it wasn't crazy. And I thought, no chance am I going to be able to get that.
Do you mind me asking though, what was the, did it have a reserve at the time? Or what did the bidding start off?
I think the bidding started like low hundreds.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, low hundreds. I was out in London at the time with some friends, and I'd had a bit to drink, and I was bidding on it. And I remember putting my last bid in on the way back on the train, back up to Leicester, and I woke up the following morning with a bit of an hangover, and I looked at my phone and all these emails. You have won Aston Martin DB2 for. I think one is a slightly maybe not the right semantic when you done it, but anyway. So I was really chuffed with what I got it for. It was less than I would have gone for. It weren't lots less, but it was a bit less. But I had never seen it other than online. But I loved its provenance, I loved its colour, the sea green. I loved the cream interior. I loved it. Yeah, I knew it wasn't perfect, and as you know, it's not perfect. It's not like the DB6.
No, but it's usable, isn't it?
Very
it's
usable.
A proper usable car.
So that's why I wanted one. That's how I got this one. When did I get it? I got it 2 years ago. Yeah, I've had it 2 years. So this came after the DB6.
Yeah. But what a perfect car to complement the DB6.
Oh, brilliant. What I love about this car versus the DB6, because you could say, well, why have you got two of the same cars? They're not the same.
Well, they're not.
The DB6 is a Grand Tourer. The DB6 is, chuck your bags in it and go away for a long weekend on the continent. This for me is English countryside, going to, out for a picnic, going for a pub lunch, that type of thing. This is, though, I have to say, more of a sports car. It's half the power of the DB6, but it is more of a sports car. It's more engaging to drive. Show a bit of the acceleration now.
Here we go.
I mean, listen to that straight six.
Just fantastic.
And it's pulling really well. There's 6 there.
That smell.
Smell the oil.
Yeah, the oil and the petrol.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in. Come on. Do you want to go in the front?
No, mate, you can.
Oh, it's tight.
Jeepers.
Yeah, mate. I don't think you put your legs when. Oh, I know. There you go. That's the way to do it. Hoochie.
Yeah, 2 + 2.
Yeah. I was telling Steve my story about 20 years ago. I was at a journalist dinner for Evo magazine. I just started writing for them, and they were asking me on this table that I was sat at how I got into cars, and I said, oh, first car was a Lotus Esprit.
Wow.
I always wanted a Lotus Esprit, so I borrowed £2 from 3 different banks and got it. And they said, what made you like the Esprit? I said, oh, Bond film, The Spy Who Loved Me. I loved that film.
Yeah.
And they all started smiling and nudging each other. I said, what are you laughing at? They said, well, this is Roger Becker, he drove it in the film.
Really?
I was like,
so rude, wasn't it?
so I got chatting to Roger Becker, and he was telling me that Cubby Broccoli had him flown over because this American stunt driver wasn't used to the fact that when they were filming in Sardinia, he couldn't drive a right-hand drive car for a start, so they flew Roger Becker out. and he did all the stunt driving for the rest of the film. But he was telling me also about the helicopter sequence with the Jet Ranger, where it's just hovering above the motorway.
Yeah.
And he'd agreed with the helicopter pilot, this guy called Mark Wolf, who's a really famous stunt helicopter pilot. He says, I just want you to hover it. He says, I'll hover about 50 feet. When you come round the corner, I'll nip it round, I'll torque it round as if I'm firing at you with the machine guns. And he says, well, as long as you keep it that high up. And Roger Becker said, when I came round the corner, he says, it was about 15 foot, and I only got the roof just under the skids. And he says, if you look at the spy, look at that sequence where it comes round the corner.
I'm going to watch it now.
Yeah, it goes under the skids. There's literally hardly any space there. So, thanks to Steve for that fantastic few hours with that DB. It's just stunning, isn't it?
Great car, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So, anyway, we're going to nip over to Medina Rosso now for an update on the Murcielago. So, Matt, you have had the beast in again. Again. But before we go any further, let me tell you, you've probably noticed I've changed the colour of the wheels.
I have, yes.
From, I just couldn't do with the grey. I couldn't do with it, so they've gone back to silver again.
Silver. A bit more classy.
Do you think it's more classy?
A bit more classy.
I just think it sets it off better.
It does. The darker wheels are more sporty.
Yeah.
But the silver more classy.
Yeah, and I'm getting older. I'm not sporty anymore. I'm just a bit more classy, hopefully. But so you've done quite a lot on this car in the last couple of weeks again. I know you've done something to preserve the components underneath.
Yeah.
Just can you just tell us a bit about that?
So first of all, since you've taken it away and run it in, everything's settled. So
since all the
work's been done, so you've rechecked the geometry, make sure everything's nice and tight, so everything's secure.
Yeah.
And then after that, we've steam cleaned all the suspension down, thoroughly dried it off, and then protected it with Dinitrol corrosion protection.
So Dinitrol's a bit like
a little bit like wax oil.
Yeah.
And you spray it on, it makes a film around all the suspension areas and the underside of the car.
Yeah.
So it protects it from all the salt and water.
Yeah.
So got a long time to go
stuff.
now.
Yeah. So it basically just looks after everything, stops rust and all the rest of it.
That's it.
Because when it first came in here, it looked like a rust bucket underneath, didn't it? Even though actually nothing was particularly. It looked corroded, but actually when you rubbed it off, it wasn't too bad, was it? Because we had them all powder coated again.
That's right.
But now we've had it powder coated, we've had this.
That's it.
Dinitrol
protection. Brilliant stuff.
Is it?
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And it leaves a nice finish when you spray it on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And you've also done me a fabricated under tray under here.
That's right.
Because I've twatted this car so much going up bloody hotel steep ramps in bloody Italy and everything.
Ferries.
I think half of it's on different ferries all across Europe.
Yeah.
But so you've prefabricated a front bit, which have you riveted that on?
There's three sections. There's a centre section and two side sections. So we've remanufactured all them sections and powder coated them. And they're fixed up with body fixings now.
Oh, super, yeah. So we've got one panel missing underneath, but the front ones are all done.
That's all done.
Yeah,
and solid.
great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So good stuff. No, thanks, Matt.
So
that's it's ready to go.
Another 100,000 miles now.
100,000 miles. Yeah, I think I'll end up being buried in it probably. But there we go.
Right. So, Simon, how much did all that cost you?
Oh, 1,600 quid. More on the credit card, but at the end of the day, at least I've got it now because I drive it in the winter. Don't forget. So it's now winter prepped.
That Dinitrol stuff's not cheap, but it's the nuts.
It is the nuts.
So the 430's also been down to Modena Rosso. Let's find out what they did this time to my car.
Yep.
So as we've just seen, the Mercy has been into Modena Rosso recently, and so has the 430. It's been in for its annual service and to get it ready for another European road trip that we are doing in June and July later on this year. So I've got the paperwork here. We had an oil change, oil filter, air filter, pollen filter. We did the spark plugs, and I'll cut in a video just now to show you how that actually happens, because access is not easy. So let's see how Matt got on.
So here we have Simon's 430, and it's time for the spark plugs changing. So here's a little video to show how you get to them. You can get to them from the top without removing the wheel arches if you're ambidextrous, but this is the easiest way. Remove the wheel and the wheel arch liner, and if you look through this gap here, you can see the 4 coils on this bank. So what you have to do is remove the Allen cap headed bolts out of the coil packs. Here's one we've already prepared. That just pops out, and you're straight into the spark plug port. So using a 16mm spark plug socket and extension, you can just whiz the plug out. Like so. So here we have the new spark plug. We've checked the plug gap at 0.65mm, and we've put some anti-seize on the threads there just to help it for next time we're taking it out.
So there you go. Even just changing the spark plugs, not as straightforward as you would hope. We also changed the transmission oil, so the gearbox oil got done. We changed the door striker plate because the door was shutting with a bit of a clunk. And also, as part of our ongoing let's keep it looking as good as we possibly can, we decided this time to remove all the wheel arch liners and steam clean all of the exposed suspension parts. I'll put in some before and after pictures here. It looks great, looks fantastic. Just got the grime and the road crap off it. Probably hasn't been done in the 20 years that the car has existed. Oh yeah, it's its 20th birthday this year as well. We should do a little party or something, maybe not. And we also steam cleaned the engine bay, which has, again, I'll put some before and after pictures in, has really transformed it, because the cam covers down on each bank of the V8 were, well, they were red, but you couldn't really see because they were just covered in crap and mank and horrible. Again, 20 years worth of just grime. They look fantastic now. Everything has had a good spruce up and is looking its best, so that is good. That was quite a lot of labour. The other thing that resulted in quite a chunk of labour was a misfire. Now this happened last year after a very wet drive and a very wet night outside in North Wales, and I think probably the steam cleaning kicked it off again, so quite a bad misfire, and it took quite a lot of time to find out that it was coil pack number 7, and so that has now been replaced. Quick tip: we did not buy the part from Ferrari, it is a Bosch part. We sourced the Bosch part number and ordered it direct from Bosch, saving ourselves hundreds of pounds. Anyway, total £2,465, 1,500 of which was labour, so all in all, not bad. The only other remaining thing to do now is to stick a couple of new rear tyres on, because we are down to about 1.5 mil. They are 320 quid fitted for a pair, so total cost for the 430 this month, well, this year to be fair, £2,785. Not too bad if you say it quickly, is it? Talking about European road trip, these little chaps have just come after some online shenanigans ordering. This is my "you can go into certain towns in Germany" emissions sticker, and this is my "Critère, you can go into certain towns in France" emissions sticker, which you now have to have I have also applied online for the e-vignette for driving through Switzerland, so that's all done and dusted. You don't have to display a sticker for the e-vignette, that just works on number plates. But yeah, it used to be that you just jumped in your car, went through the tunnel or got on a ferry and went and had a drive around Europe. But now you have got to, you've got to make some preparations so that you are emissions compliant driving abroad. But no doubt putting these little stickers on my car is helping to save the planet, so yay. So there you go, another episode of Drivers Keepers. Thank you so much for watching. We don't take it for granted, and we really appreciate the watches, the likes, and any comments that you may want to leave. Join us again soon for another episode
of Drivers Keepers.